Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Sandy Frank's political podcast for a people's revolution against the corporate fascist state. I'm your host, Sandy Frank, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but uh, mainly we're going to be talking about the deep state and the and more specifically what's happening with the propaganda outlets in our country that are they're running a campaign. And again, I'm no Donald Trump fan. I'm no Donald Trump supporter. I think the hype that Donald Trump gets for being an outsider is completely unwarranted, not deserved, because he is just as much a corporatist as anything. But what we see happening now is the the deep state and the powers, the real powers of the B, the real power behind the corporate media, uh, uh, trying tirelessly to basically get Trump to resign or get impeached. And of course, you know they're not uh, they're not against Trump because Trump is a patsy. He's willing to follow their the larger things they want, which is perpetual warfare and economic fascism. You see when Donald Trump is taking all the regulations off of the banks, that the do nothing, the lackluster corporate fascist regulations that were put on cosmetically to make it the appearance of something being done to fool people. But we see this happening against Trump, and I'm not saying Trump is wrong on every issue. He said the right words about trade, and he said the right words about you know well, let's just leave it at trade, because that's really all it is. And he said some right words about globalism and multinational elitists taking over. We're not here to praise Trump, because the thing is, it doesn't matter anything of what Trump believes or wants. The reason all of this is happening is because Trump is so unpopular. The only reason that the corporate state is trying tirelessly, using all of these corporate outlets and all of this bogus information, is because of Donald Trump, where he is as the face of United States and Western corporate fascist hegemonic elitist power. He's so unpopular that the credibility of the corporate fascist state that Nazi Barack Obama was able to make look all shiny and happy, Trump's destroying it. And the corporate fascist state is hemorrhaging support. It's hemorrhaging support that people like Barack Obama were politically savvy enough to trick people into continuing support. Think about what Barack Obama was able to do, just in the African American community, when Barack Obama asked people what they wanted with bombing Syria. He got the biggest amount of support from the African American community in U.S. history for bombing. You know, Barack Obama was able to trick so many people with his smiley faced corporate manipulated media fascism that he was able to convince so many quote unquote progressives and quote unquote liberals, who were just corporate shills, all of them. But he was able to get the support of. And I'm not saying that's the only reason that Donald Trump has having this happen to him. There this is they're playing a game right now, the deep state and the corporate elites and all of them. I'm not saying there's one power consolidation uh, over the world. These elites are all different types of people with all different types of views, all different types of fascistic views. That of course, there's a lot of differing opinions and whatnot, but we see now the corporate media and the corporate fascist outlets doing everything they can to stop Trump and get Pence in, because once they get Pence in, uh, because Pence is such a not as a divisive figure, even though he is, but not among idiots who support the corporate fascist state. But if they get Trump in, it's no different than having McCain or Lindsey Graham or Barack Obama in. These are people who are going to do the bidding of the corporate fascists 100%. And Trump, for how much I dislike Donald Trump, he can be a little rogue. He can go against a lot of different of the corporate elite opinions, just mainly because he's playing to his base. Donald Trump has become a politician, and he's serving the people who elected him, who are a lot of working people. Yeah, a lot of corporate elites, but also a lot of working people who expected something out of Trump. So they are definitely definitely working round the clock to discredit Trump and get him out. And I'm gonna make the point here that we, as an independent people's revolution, truly want to keep Donald Trump where he is for the time being, because of the amount of hemorrhaging that Donald Trump causes to the corporate establishment, because he is so unpopular, and because he is so unpopular because of the corporate media giving him all that free airtime, then completely turning on him and calling him a Nazi for months and months and months and months and months. This is their Frankenstein that's now, wreaking havoc on their elitist village, pulling it apart and pulling the wool off of it, unintentionally, to show, to showing what these people are actually doing. And again, I'm not a Trump supporter, and again, my opinion is not 4 years of Trump, or 8 years of Trump. I don't want Trump, but I want a complete clearing of the corporate establishment and the corporate establishment government. Yeah, I would like Trump out, but if getting just Trump out is gonna send the media and the corporate state back into an easier preservation mode, because Mike Pence is so much easier to control, then no, I don't want Trump to be impeached. I want him to keep him there, to keep destroying the image of the corporate state. This Frankentrump, this monster that they've created, that's now going to kill them. It's beautifully it's beautiful poetic justice. It's actually exactly what Mary Shelley wrote about in Frankenstein, that we create these monsters, and they come back to for retribution, and that's exactly what they're experiencing now, retribution. So, but now we see the bogus information coming out about the Trump dossier, and in the last 24 hours, these whistleblowers have become, the corporate establishment will flip on a dime because they have no values. They just are interested in power preservation. So now whistleblowers are kings of the world for the corporate state. If it's going to help them, get Trump and the damage that Trump will do. Oh my goodness, it hasn't been a month, and Donald Trump is already. Ooh, people are not going back to sleep, and that's what the corporate elite see with all of their money and power to poll and get statistics and get the good information about what people are actually doing, and they see the fact that people are not going back to sleep like they did with Barack Obama, and like they could have managed to happen with Hillary Clinton. People are not going back to sleep. This is something that they are not able to control because they've lost all credibility with, cheating Bernie Sanders, and then Bernie Sanders turning into a shill, even though he always was a shill. But we see this scurrilous campaign to discredit Trump, and I'm no Donald Trump fan, but we if we want to destroy the corporate government, we want to keep Trump exactly where he is, to keep discrediting our nonsensical corporate government. We of course we want Trump as soon as possible, but that's when we get all of the Congress and the court. We completely clear out, and I'm talking about even a national recall of all public offices, and a prohibition of corporate media, of corporate controlled fake journalism, government propaganda, corporate controlled state propaganda. But yeah, the deep state, the craziness that has been going on, forever. But let's just talk about the deep state since the election. Coming out and saying that Donald Trump, Russia hacked the election. They say this and offer no proof, no specifics. They vaguely attack Julian Assange and WikiLeaks for the Podesta emails, very vaguely. It's always some sort of different type of hack. Keith Olbermann saying on Bill Maher's terrible show how Russia hacked our democracy. Okay, that's very specific. What exactly do you mean by that? And of course they don't mean anything because they have no proof of anything. They can provide no evidence, but nonetheless, you get it out on the corporate media and people will believe it. Good God, I can't tell you how many people I know from New York and all over these quote unquote liberal places that care about intellectualism and facts and things like this. They care of nothing of the sort. They care about what the smiley face on the media is telling them. But we have this nonsense coming out every day from about Russia, when it's sure Trump has connections with Russia, and sure I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that Donald Trump has done that if we had the evidence for, or they provided the evidence for, I'm sure Trump has done some fucked up things with foreign governments. But the point is that the Democrats and the Hillary Clintons and the Barack Obamas are just as guilty. Like, look at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton earned $500,000, $500,000 from a Russian bank for a speech, and we have Flynn resigning for a phone call. I'm not defending Flynn. I hate Flynn. He's a crazy warmonger, war hawk who has no place, anywhere near our government. But the hypocrisy of it, of what Bill and Hillary Clinton have done, what Barack Obama has done, how the Democrats sold 20% of United States uranium to the Russians. You'd think that might be some sort of conflict of interest, some sort of damaging, moment for, and we go on and on about the games played by uh, the the corporate elite, especially on the Democratic side. Uh, but we have we have Michael Flynn resigning, and out of nothing but a media firestorm. These same Democrats who put in all of Trump's appointees, now trying to save face because they're stupid constituents, the people who would actually vote for these pathetic Democrats. And it's a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of people. They just they just want to try and trick people with something cosmetic, with some sort of phony impeachment hearing that'll go on for months, and it will be this silly little parade of nonsense, but will if the corporate media does it right, and they're very good at doing it right, it could lead to some sort of psyop, psychological operation that makes people think some sort of change was actually done. And don't tell me they can't do it, because they just did it for 8 years. They Barack Obama held a lot of support for 8 years with doing nothing but dramatic little corporate media psyops about the Republicans and healthcare, and they're obstructing, and Barack Obama can't do anything. Oh, as if the entire corporate establishment state wasn't just trying to preserve the insurance companies and big pharmaceuticals and the corporate monopoly. Uh, so we've seen that they can be successful with these psyop media campaigns. Very successful. They have a lot of talented propagandists working for them who know how to warp people's brains entirely. Uh, and it speaks to the need of our independent people's propaganda outlet to counter this bullshit. We want propaganda of the facts. We want propaganda of specifically taking down the corporate elites. And as that, we really need to, you know, come together and decide on, what is what. I like Jordan Chariton of the Young Turks. I think he's a great reporter. He does a lot of great stories. He does a lot of, he actually breaks stories. This is a concept that is lost on the corporate media, and he does a lot of great stuff. I'm not trying to completely discredit Jordan Chariton here, but when he just came out with a video against the attacks by propagandist Joy Reid about the Democratic primaries being rigged, this is a person, Jordan, who wouldn't say anything about voting machines, who wouldn't say anything about fraudulent, the not matching the exit polls. He won't say anything about the manipulation of the actual voter machines and of the actual ballot manipulations for Hillary Clinton that we have ample evidence for. He won't say anything about it. I'm not saying he doesn't know anything about it. I'm saying that the only when Joy Reid was calling him out on him saying that the primaries were rigged, he all people towing this cushy Democratic establishment line, like the Young Turks, can only say things like, ooh, media collusion, and ooh, the emails show that Don Brazil gave Hillary Clinton the questions, and ooh, media blackout. And all of those things are true, and they're important, but they are not the main reason. What the problem is. The problem is that Barack Obama gave our election systems entirely to the Department of Homeland Security. We now live in a complete banana republic. Our elections are completely fraudulent. The results of elections are completely not to be trusted because they're nothing but state propaganda, and we have no transparency into our voting system. And we see all of the polls, all of these polls conducted independently, all of this verifiable information not matching the by sometimes by 30% margins, not matching the what the state is coming out and saying the polls are, what Google is saying that the polls are. And when Jordan Sheridan won't buck up and say what's real and speak truth to power, not be afraid to be called a crazy person by the likes of a crazy person like Joy Reid. Well, no, Joy Reid might call me a crazy person. Joy Reid is insane. She's out of her mind, but she would call me out of my mind for saying that the vote, our literally our voting systems and our tallying systems are completely fraudulent and completely controlled by the corporate fascist state who wanted to install Hillary Clinton. That's a fact. That's what all of the information says. And when people like Jordan Sheridan are only going to come out and say media collusion and Donna Brazil and these things, they're gonna be, they're gonna. Joy Reid wins in Jordan Sheridan and Joy Reid's little fight. For what it's worth, Joy Reid won because Jordan was not willing to present all of the information. So Joy Reid and her crazy propagandist fascism was able to not win the argument because she's absolutely wrong, but she looks like she came out as even though she's not, she's a liar and she's a crazy person, but for what it's worth of what people believed, people are probably believing Joy Reid because of Jordan's not wanting to be seen as a crazy person to a bunch of crazy people. So, but this speaks to the manipulation of the deep state. I mean, Joy Reid is nothing but a mouthpiece for the CIA. That's really all she is. And we so let's get back into the deep state conversation. We have this the deep state controlling our entire lives did not just come from this Donald Trump Psy-Op. It didn't just come out of the woodwork with Michael Flynn. These are the people who killed Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and so many people who have been speaking truth to power for history. So many of them, we know that the deep state is completely run by these corporate elites, and our police system is completely controlled by white nationalist, low IQ psychopaths, and the corporate media is completely controlled by mouthpieces who push lies to blind us from these facts. And the corporate media, the deep state controlled corporate media, has these shills like Michael Moore. This probably one of the most dangerous, because I love Michael Moore's films. Michael Moore as a filmmaker has some brilliant ideas. One of my favorite films of his is actually one of his new ones, not the Trump land bullshit, but what was it called? Where he goes around the world and looks at the socialized programs that work 1,000 times better than Where to Invade Next. I thought this movie was fantastic. Such a great way to, and that came out during Bernie Sanders' campaign. to just explain to brainless people in the United States that, we have some of the worst systems in the world, and there's places in the world that have these systems that help people about 1,000 times more than they help in this disgusting capitalist system. So this is why Michael Moore is so dangerous. That he says so many things that I agree with so fully, and that so many quote unquote progressives agree with so fully. But he's a complete corporate shill for the deep state against the Republicans. He's nothing but controlled opposition, controlled by the deep state to help take down a rogue Trump, a supposed rogue element, and establish control again of the MSNBCs and the CNNs, who are hemorrhaging support for their bullshit coverage of Donald Trump. So people like Michael Moore and Keith Olbermann, who's nothing but a hack, and people like Sean King as well. You know, Sean King, who works for the contemptible New York Daily News, who says a lot of good things. Yeah, he knows the language of Martin King and of Malcolm X, but when it comes to being a controlled opposition, Democratic shill, anti-Trump nonsense bullshit, uh, he's completely wrong. Well, he's not. Well, he's working basically for the deep state. Even if he doesn't know it, even if Sean King thinks that every morning when he wakes up he's doing the good work of Dr. King, which he's not. He's just a corporate mouthpiece that is trying to, discredit Republicans while not understanding he's being controlled to keep the corporate system in line. But we have a YouTuber, Nico House, who just put out a video, really going into the danger of someone like Sean King, someone so warped by this liberal elitist power that he's willing to help exacerbate the problems put on low income people, and non elitists for the goal of some media psyop. So go to Nico House's Facebook page or YouTube page, and his video is called "Sean King Stay in Your Lane," where he basically calls out Sean King for, yeah, 'cause Sean King writes a lot of good things about police brutality and race studies, a lot of great things, but is really just being used by the corporate New York Daily News to stir up sensationalism, to divide us, and to distract us from forming an independent people's movement to take down the corporate fascist state. People like Sean King are not helping with our people's revolution. They're doing nothing but dividing working people and trying to put the blame on, blue collar workers in Wisconsin and Wyoming who voted for Trump, and not the liberal elite and not the corporate elite who are controlling the entire world. So go check out Nico House's video. But we have so many people like Sean King and Michael Moore and Cenk Uygur and uh, uh, Keith Olbermann, people who play the part of these progressive populist champions, but are doing nothing but reading from the corporate fascist script of imperialism and the preservation of imperialism. That's all they're doing. They're, even if Sean King doesn't realize it, he's contributing to the hegemony, to the austerity, and to the racism. Let's be clear. Even if Sean King doesn't realize he's doing it, he's helping exacerbate the racism in the world and the economic inequality in the world. Not to say that those two are the same things. They're not. Racism is obviously deeply tied into the disproportional corporate divide where African Americans and Latinos have been made to have less money. Not that it's anything to do with those communities. It's just the corporate elites set up the system that way, mainly to rouse racism in the lower income white communities, which has always been is what has been being done. This is always how it's worked. Uh, this is exactly how it goes. But and yeah, I mean, if you wanna another good journalist, actual journalist who is writing about this corporate fascist hypocrisy of of the elitist Democrats and the elitist Republicans just trying to snuff out the unpopular Trump. You look at H.A. Goodman. He's got a lot of videos, a lot of articles. He's all over the place. He's got a lot of TV stuff and stuff like that, and he writes a lot about the Democrats and just trying to keep the corporate media on notice of all of their anti-Trump material, just trying to level the playing field of saying that the Democratic elitists are and the liberal elitists are just as bad as Donald Trump. Completely. The hypocrisy of the Clintons and the hypocrisy of the Obamas and the hypocrisy of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders and Cory Booker and Kirsten Gillibrand who take money from big industries and do the bidding of the corporate elite and then say all the pretty language that people want to hear that put progressives to sleep for 8 years under Barack Obama. And that's exactly what the corporate media is trying to do with all of this Trump sensationalism. They are trying to get us back to the cushy Barack Obama smiley face complacency that put the anti-war movement to sleep and put the anti-austerity movement to sleep. Like, what do you expect when the conservative movement has never been anti-war? You can't expect that, these people are the ones cheering for war. This is all Donald Trump said with his little populist movement, his conservative populist movement of lower income people. He was calling for more war, killing their families, waging major war with ISIS, wiping out entire areas. You're not going to find the anti-war movement from any of these Donald Trump people. Or I'm sure there's a lot of people who support Donald Trump who don't want war, but just wanted to stop the corporate elite by voting Trump. There's a lot of people who voted for Trump who don't support Trump, and I understand that just as much. People who just understood what Trump was and that it would be bad, but it's a lot better than Clinton. Believe me, I'm a lot happier that Donald Trump is the president right now, destroying the image of the corporate elitist state, than Hillary Clinton becoming the president and the media and the corporate media going into lockdown. We would never fucking see Hillary Clinton if she was the president right now. She would be in a palace far away. The media knows how unpopular she is, and how unpopular she gets the more and more media attention she gets because she's such a terrible person. And the media would be in lockdown right now. The same thing that the corporate media was doing the entire time Barack Obama was president. Whenever they could, they would capitalize on like the Harlem Shake and the Ice Bucket Challenge, and these were the only things in the corporate media and the corporate news that would be anything. And they'd have like one actual little constructed news story to praise Barack Obama, and we would have gone on like this until the rest of the world, rose up and tried to attack the United States, and that would have led to the destruction of the world. So now that we have Donald Trump, who I hate, I don't support Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. We have complete, a complete failing of the system. The system is becoming, unbelievably unpopular, as days and days go by of Trump destroying this fascistic image that Barack Obama helped to propagandize. And this is their investment. You need to look at this sensationalism and this craziness going on as people who aren't getting what they paid for. People put a lot of money into this election. People put a lot of money into this corporate elitist state, and Donald Trump is trashing it with his bumbling. And these elitists are doing everything they can to stop the complete visage of their bullshit from just collapsing around them. You know, we we talk about this giant hypocrisy that exists between these Trump people and the Democratic elitist establishment. These people who do the same exact things as Donald Trump, but spin it with the media to make it seem like smiley faced happiness. I love how the U.S. foreign policy over the last few months has gone from Muslims are dogs that need to be banned and bombed, and this is how we do it, to now all of these progressives, quote unquote progressives, coming out of the woodwork talking about how much they support Muslims, which they don't. They're just being sheepdogged by Soros. But we have the complete hypocrisy here. So, and I'm not sure if there will be some sort of impeachment based on phony evidence. I'm not sure Donald Trump will just resign. I could see that. I would not be surprised if Donald Trump resigned. But our goal as people's revolutionaries is not to take out Trump, but to take out the entire corporate state and change everything. And while Trump is in power, it benefits us. It benefits us because of the hemorrhaging of credibility, because of the Frankentrump monster, and it completely keeps giving us power. These progressive online news sources keep becoming more and more powerful. WikiLeaks, The Intercept, Jimmy Dore, same progressive. All of these, they keep becoming more and more powerful as the days go by. And believe me, the corporate elite, with all of their money and all their power, they know this is happening, and they want to stop it. We're gonna, as time goes by, we're gonna see more and more of censorship continuing to grow, especially on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all these things. They're gonna keep censoring and discrediting and calling everything fake and completely getting exactly what they've been doing, but they're just going to keep ramping it up. But so we have, and just like these Michael Moores and these Keith Olbermanns, you take these online news sources like the Young Turks and what is it, Sam Cedar. They're doing nothing but putting out this anti-Trump bullshit for continuously. You look at all of their content on here, and it's nothing but here's what the Young Turks is saying: Russia violates missile treaty, and Trump is silent. These people are pushing for World War like it's their jobs, and it is their jobs. These people are the war propagandists who want to perpetuate the war state and the kill state and the the surveillance state. They, you see it flatly with the Young Turks and the Guardian and Sam Cedar and all of these crazy things. You'd think they never learned about the Red Scare of the '50s or anything in United States history and what it leads to. Uh, because if we get any of the entire world wants to stop the United States from what they're doing militarily to the poor people of the Middle East who've been suffering under United States craziness for almost 2 decades. And believe me, if you think that you bomb an entire part of the world for 20 years and just get away with it, if you think the future of the United States is not that of massive disdain, which it already is around the world, but this is how empires fall, folks. And empires don't fall with a whimper. Empires fall with great wars and great death and great famine and great displacement and great poverty. The United States of America is not going to end. The United States Empire and the Western Empire is not going to end with a whimper. This is the next part of our history. If we look at the patterns of history before us, there's a lot of violence coming our way. And this will continue to happen when this country, whether it's Donald Trump or Mike Pence or whoever, when we go into Iran, which is going to happen because it's part of the plan, we will be in Iran within 2 years. I'll say probably a much shorter time, but Iran will be it. Iran is the last step of their plan, and that will put a lot of powers in the world against us to try and take us down, as well as civil unrest, as well as domestic unrest here. The corporate media has created this narrative that will be fulfilled when you put it into people's heads, but they've created a narrative of both a third world war and a second United States Civil War. And for them to keep their power in this age of awakening, of this age of media being information being readily available to people, they need a lot of big events to trick us and to stop us and to cut us down. And you can expect when the third world war ends, there will also be massive unrest in this country to the extent of a second world war. The people in this country are ready to explode, and people in the rest of the world are ready to explode against us, the United States and Western powers. And the deep state knows this, and the deep state is creating this because their plan is depopulation. If we're going to be honest about it, the deep state and the corporate elite's plan is to hold power, which they know they can't hold when there are billions of people against them. They need to do this thing to consolidate power, and that's the way the system is set up. There's no Deus ex machina coming to peacefully stop this war state that's been constructed over centuries. The cavalry isn't coming to help us out and change everything and make a nice system with a peaceful transition. That's not how it works, folks. It's us. If we want to stop this massive carnage from happening to the world, as in the death of 99% of people, if we want to stop this, then we need to we need our movement. We need our people's movement to stop all of these elitists now, to take them out of power, to put them under a citizen's arrest, and to create a system that ends the wars and ends the displacement and ends the killing and ends the economic fascism and ends the exploitation of countries with that are at this point lower income, and we need to stop it now, or their next plan is extermination. We're already in an age of the sixth major extinction of this planet. We're already here. We're already experiencing these elitists cutting down the world for their own gain. It's already upon us, and it's been. I was born in 1992. This has been. I was born, when this evil state was, at it had been at the height of power, but has been, preserving the height of power. I was born under George H.W. Bush. The first time we went into Iraq for money, the guy who did that around that time. You know, this is the point is it's an unsustainable system. It's not capable of being held up, and it's not meant to be. Capitalism is not sustainable. You can't build a system based on debt and needing to pay off what you've accumulated and expect a sustainable system. We need a needs oriented system. We need a socialist system that creates for people's needs. We've already done a video on Marx and on the Zeitgeist movement, on the Venus Project. We need to be worshiping our needs of all people, and we need to be worshiping sustainability. And these are the two things that the state we have doesn't do, and that's why we see these deep state Psy-Op corporate media campaigns trying to paint Donald Trump as a monster, and the Congress as some heroes who are going to slay this rogue runaway beast of Trump, when Trump is a monster, but everyone in Congress is just as bad. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, these people are, and even people like Keith Ellison, these war hawks, these warmongers who want to sell a pretty face to the genocide of Syria, and who want to completely wipe out entire sections of the world because their donors and the people who put them where they are want them to do it. So it's just gonna go on and on like this, folks. They know this will soon be upon them, but the system is not even set up for people to be elitists, to be eventually giving over power to the people so they don't rise up and fucking kill them. They're all on a train that's out of control and is about to go off the tracks, and they're not going to stop it because it's their gravy train. It's their money making scheme. We need to rise up and get together and make it clear what our stance is, because when we make our stance clear to everyone that the corporate elitists have gotten out of control and they have no intention of ever helping anyone and they need to be stopped immediately, when we get 90% of people in the streets saying stop this immediately, yeah, we can scare them. I'm not saying we can't scare these people out of it, but I'm saying that needs to happen in order for these people to relinquish their power. They'll relinquish their power when it seems to them like they are in trouble, and that if they continue doing this, they will have their heads cut off. But not a minute before. We talk about how the Vietnam War was actually ended with Nixon and Kissinger. We have the anti-war protesters outside the White House, Nixon had put up buses as a barrier around the entire White House to because these protesters were so they were doing so well and they're protesting that getting the anti-war message out by scaring the elitists that Richard Nixon said to Henry Kissinger in the Oval Office Nixon said Henry, I'm afraid these people are going to break through and kill us. And that's as Chris Hedges says that's exactly how the ruling class should always feel about the citizenry. And people like Barack Obama, smiley face Barack Obama, took the anti-war movement and brainwashed it and destroyed it with corporate media. Of course, the corporate media influence wasn't as bad as it was, and it was bad in the 70s. Believe me, in the 60s and 70s. Corporate media was very bad in the 60s and 70s, but it took Bill Clinton and it took Barack Obama to completely brainwash people on laundry detergent commercials and bullshit sitcoms about nothing that are just about people trying to have sex and have fun in an oligarchy playground for for their useless lives. You look at if you so many people look at the world now and say that all craziness and greed and uh, you know uh, corporate greed went out of the world in 1975. They think that because of things like the show Friends that the world changed and people became altruistic and a good, whatever that means, all of a sudden, when in reality, Friends is one of the greatest corporate fascist propaganda tools ever created to sell some bullshit image of some bourgeois, neoliberal, elitist a lifestyle that everyone should try to support, and that, the government doesn't do anything bad, everything's happy, just get together with your friends on Thanksgiving and la-di-da, and this is the enemy. This is the thing that brainwashed so many people into thinking that the world had changed, and that was because of Bill Clinton and the Telecommunications Act of 1996, where all 95% of the media became corporate controlled by six giant corporations that all had the same intentions. There was not there was all when you say six corporations, just say one because these corporations are all working alongside each other to preserve themselves. But the deep state and the CIA and the FBI have done such a little ditty on our corporate media nowadays that people aren't even buying it anymore. They can't even the deep state, can't even, they're losing all their support because what they're doing is so damn obvious to everyone now that they're even idiots are waking up and saying, "Oh, whoops, Barack Obama wasn't actually my best friend, my daddy, my golden cow. He was actually not a very good person who was very good at pretending he is a very good person." Okay, so I'm no fan of Putin. I'm no fan of Trump. But when you talk about Trump and you talk about Putin, you better also be talking about Barack Obama and George Bush and Bernie Sanders. What did Bernie Sanders just come out and say in a tweet that he disagrees with Republicans, but he disagreed with George Bush, but at least George Bush wasn't a pathological liar. Are you kidding me? Did Bernie Sanders really just say George Bush isn't a pathological liar? What bullshit. What deep state, corporate controlled nonsense Bernie Sanders is and has always been. George Bush lied us into wars, lied about 9/11, lied about everything, lied about the economy. And Bernie Sanders, deep state controlled Bernie Sanders, is calling George W. Bush not a pathological liar? And it's the same exact line that Hillary Clinton used in the debate against Donald Trump. She said, she's had her problems with the Republicans, but Donald Trump is just too much. No, Donald Trump is the exact same thing as the Republicans and the exact same thing as the Democrats and Hillary Clinton. which is nothing but, wanting corporate control. And the only reason that Donald Trump is getting it so hard is because, a lot of his rhetoric and a lot of the people who voted for him, but it's because of how unpopular he is and how much he's hemorrhaging support for the deep state controlled corporate world. You know, so fuck Bernie Sanders, fuck Hillary Clinton, and fuck Donald Trump too. But we need to understand that, Donald Trump in all of his terribleness is is flaying the face off of the corporate media establishment elite, and Donald Trump could be the catalyst for our independent people's movement to rise up. So we should keep him as the cancerous boar on the corporate state for as long as it takes for us to take out the entire Congress, and then also take out Donald Trump out of power by any means necessary. So the deep state completely controls our lives, and we need to know who the real villain is. Not just Donald Trump, the deep state. This is a much bigger villain than Donald Trump. So, thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe, follow, whatever. And I'm Sandy Frank, and I will see you in the next one.